Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Most of the time I like to spit game, talk about mindset training, mind, body, and soul programming, how we can become stronger. Sometimes I just like to tell some stories. It's Friday night, so let's just get into a story. You guys know anything about corrupt cops? Ever have any experiences with any corrupt cops? I've had many. Corrupt cops exist. That's like a real thing. Just like you see in the fucking movies. You ever seen that movie Training Day? I always thought that was a good movie. Denzel Washington is a great actor, and he's really a good dude. You know, Denzel Washington is the hero of that Oscar evening that nobody's talking about. Just because Denzel Washington, right after Will Smith did his little slapping, his drive-by slapping, like a little bitch, and had his little breakdown, all this shit, he goes backstage, and I guess he's in some kind of crazy mindset. Denzel Washington came up to him and said something to the effect of, "At our highest moment is when the devil will take us down." Now, he's a Christian, but you know, there's some wisdom in that. And to have a friend, I don't know if they're buddies, but to have somebody come to you with wisdom in the moment. I've had people do that where I've been hyped up and I've been wrong. Sky was wrong and I'm going crazy over some issue and I'm not right in the issue. I'm just hyped up over some bullshit, overly emotional. And I've had people check me, you know, put me in my place. That you want friends like that. That's real friendship. Nobody's giving Denzel Washington any credit, but in that movie Training Day, I like that movie because it really paints the picture of, for what I thought was a real life character. He played it perfectly. I don't know how he captured that so well, because I've run into cops like that. Cops exist like that, but I mean, at least there used to be. One of the reasons why I like Training Day when I watch it, not really for the acting or the plot, is I lived in those neighborhoods. They drive through neighborhoods, down streets. It's like the whole movie is in areas that I used to run in. So that's all really I watch it, because I'm like, oh, I know that house, and I know that house. And I fucked with corrupt cops when I was a kid. That's when I first got introduced to them. In the streets of DC, we all ran into this corrupt cop named Officer Friendly. Anybody from DC remembers Officer Friendly, at least if you had gotten arrested. Now, Officer Friendly wasn't a sheriff like Andy Griffith. He wasn't one guy. Officer Friendly was a catch-all kind of term, slang term, for any cop that was on the take, any corrupt cop. Cops would rob you. That was the name of the game for some cops. It's not a very good job, and it's dangerous. And these kids have all kinds of pockets full of drugs and money and weapons. Busting people all night with pockets full of drugs, money, and weapons. All they got to do is just take it. And this is before body cameras, so it's like that shit never even happened. They had a slow night on the job tonight. And meanwhile, that motherfucker could have shook down 10 people, made it thousands of dollars in cash and lots of drugs. And these guys bust drug dealers. He'll just go and flip that bag. Many of these guys become drug dealers too. It's a weird world. I used to know a guy, a drug dealer, who sold dope to cops who did drugs. Wrap your head around that shit. His customers, guys that were buying dope from him to get high, were cops. And I've witnessed that shit. It's the weirdest fucking thing. They put him in a fucking car. I'm watching him get busted. I'm like, well, what do I do? He walks up to these two cops, and they put him in a car and drive off. And I'm just standing there just like, well, shit. My friend just got busted. What the fuck just happened? Before I start walking down the block, before I got halfway down the block, this motherfucker comes running back up the alleyway. He's like, hey. We go back to the way we came, to where we parked our car. get in and drive off. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? And he's just like, oh, this is my customers. He's like, that's how it works. They put me in the back like they're gonna arrest me, and they drop me off a block away. And then we do this shit all day long. These fucking cops, man. They're not as innocent as you think. The first time I ran into Officer Friendly, I truly had no idea what was going on. I didn't know that kind of stuff existed. And I mean, I'd seen movies, but I didn't really know there was corrupt cops that were gonna rob you, and that was their goal. But thank God for corrupt cops, because otherwise you'd go to jail. If you get some superhero cop, he's taking you to jail, busts you with a pistol and a bag of dope. Yeah, of course you go to jail, and you could go to jail for 3-4 years. Thank God for Officer Friendly. I loved Officer Friendly. But it's a scary situation, and you had to know the game, or else you could fuck it up. There was like a code word that you had to know what the cop was talking about. I'll explain it. The first time it happened, I was with a buddy of mine, this guy Steve Johnson, and he was a good friend of mine. He was a little bit smaller than me, but like 1.5 years or so, almost 2 years older than me, and he lived in a much worse neighborhood, and he was a drug dealer and ran with gangs, and he was a pretty sophisticated criminal. And I liked Steve for that. He had this kind of vibe to him that was just hard. He wasn't like particularly jacked or anything. It wasn't like toughness in that way. He just had this slick kind of fucking hustler vibe to him. I thought that was cool. We're walking across the street. We're down in Georgetown, a very posh area of Washington, D.C. Millionaires live there. A townhouse in Georgetown could run you $10 million easy. We're crossing the streets like 10:30 at night on a weeknight. And then cops light us up. I didn't even see them. Come out of nowhere. Put us on the car, their hands out. And they're playing good cop, bad cop. And the one cop is just yelling. He's really aggressive, really angry. And he says right away, take everything out of your pockets and put it on the car. If I have to search you, you're going to jail. Steve, he's got a smile on his face. I look over to him, he's smiling. He goes and takes a couple bags of coke out of his pocket, a pistol out of his little tiny 22, piece of shit little pistol, out of his waistband, puts it on the car, and I was just like, oh my God. What the fuck just happened? This is all happening so fast to me. I was just like, oh my God, we're getting arrested now. Now we're going to jail. This is really happening. My mom's gonna be pissed. He looks over at me and he's giving me this nod, like, you know, turn out your pockets, come on. You hear what he said? Officer Friendly, he's looking at me, his nostrils just like a bull, just pumping, and his neck, he's just mad. This guy's just mad. So I come out of my pockets too, and I'm just like, well, shit. I mean, this fucking sucks. I'm scared to death. My heart's pumping. I pull out a fucking bag of weed, switchblade, pull out my wallet. This guy takes the cash out of both of our wallets, leaves the wallets on the car, takes the drugs and the weapons, puts them in a bag, puts them in his car. And I'm just like, okay, so I guess next what's coming is the cuffs and the transport vehicle or something. We're fucked. And he comes back and he's yelling and screaming at both of us right in our faces like a drill sergeant. And he says, if I ever see you fucking kids again, you're definitely going to jail. If I see you crossing the street, if I see you anywhere, at church, at the store, with your mother, anywhere, you're fucked. And he's just like, you know, really aggressive. And I'm just like terrified. Oh shit, you know, yes sir, yes sir. My buddy Steve is just still sitting there the whole time with this smile on his face, just trying not to laugh. But he's staying silent. Officer Friendly gets in the car, slams the door. The good cop comes back over, kind of timid like, and is just like, whoa, you guys really got off well. Now just get on, get out of here quick, man. Go, guys, go, before he changes his mind. And then they get in the car and they drive off, and I look at Steve and I'm just like, dude, they just robbed us. This just happened. I mean, we should be going to jail, right? Is that what just happened? They just robbed us? And he's like, yeah, they just robbed us, dude. That's what happened. Just chalk it up to an expensive night. You know, oh well. It's better than going to jail. That's the other option, right? This exact same thing happened again to me. And I won't run through the whole story because it was the same thing, except for I was in Steve's position. I was the one who knew the game. And as soon as I heard that sentence, I started coming out of my pockets right up on the fucking car with all my shit. My friends are looking at me like, Sky, oh man, like I'm blowing it. This is how that fucking knowledge of Officer Friendly was passed on from generation to generation. I don't know if they cleaned up the police force in DC. I don't know if they still have Officer Friendly. It would tickle me pink. I would laugh if Officer Friendly still exists in that town. Thanks for watching.